Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, you are having a blessed and a wonderful, I wasn't not even going to say week, but life. I mean, it's more than just, it shouldn't be temporary. There you go. But hopefully, life is going well and it's treating you well. And if it isn't, well, then reality is probably your fault. Don't get mad. Don't shoot the messenger. But that's usually the case because we make choices and those choices lead to us getting into deeper holes than we mean to. Usually because we make a choice that we really don't want to make, and then after we make that choice, our ego gets tied to said choice. So we can make more choices based off the original choice that we didn't want to make in the first place. Watch the mic for this guy. He don't realize it. Oh, poo. Come on, please. But no, hopefully your life's treating you well. It's been a little long since I've been able to come on here and make a video. I'm not making I'll make an excuse because obviously I made the choice and I know better, but just in one of those, oh shoot, I'm so sorry. But just I've been in one of those isolation periods. I lost my father. What's today? Today's July 3rd, so yeah, I lost him October 6th. Stage four. He was 47, so that was a big change. And then the thing that hit me, I mean, yeah, that kind of hit me hard, of course. It was like the main stability, but I yeah, lost my childhood dog of 14 years, and me being a very isolated and a very um I don't know, I guess meaningful person. It just that one hit harder than I expected. I'll say that. Which of course my God knows what he's doing, and he's going to finish what he started and make something new. And I think that's one of the reasons I want or I am coming on here to try to tell people that if if you're truly tired, there was two of them, but if you're truly tired and you want something different, then the Messiah is the way, the Christ is the way, which in the common tongue everybody knows him as Jesus, of course. But in his Hebrew name it's Yahshua or Yeshua, depending on how you want to pronounce it. But I think Yahshua is just a little more fitting due to the fact that that's who his father is correlated with his Yahweh. But anyways, it's just and don't get me wrong, I'm not religious. I would never claim to be. Um, and even growing up, I wasn't in church. I was in the streets. I was gang banging. I was fighting. I was, smoking weed at a young age. I, and this is something I kind of realized, here as I got older in my walk, but I never had the chance to really have a childhood like most people have, or at least from what I've been able to perceive, but which now, I don't, I'm thankful for it just because it, I was able to learn a lot and I've always been wise beyond my years. And I think that's just because my calling is, excuse me, my calling just, it has to be different. But like I'm saying, it's a wild thing to watch the world and watch people make their claims about their truth and this, that, and the third. But I've never seen humans be able to truly change like they claim they want unless they've come to the Christ, unless they started following Christ. That old upside down star trick. But unless they came to Christ and they started that walk of repentance and that, man, I can't stand campers. Unless they come to that walk of repentance and they've begun to do the work of destroying the ego, of bringing the shadow self or the subconscious self to light and becoming conscious and aware of it, then people are going to continue to suffer. People are going to continue to make the wrong choices in important moments. And I'm not even saying that people mean to do that. It's just more of, it's crazy. It's like, look, the game before this, I think I was 37 and like 14. And then it's like, as soon as I start recording, it's like, oh, yep, now now I know. And it's like, I start playing like some butt. Anywho, yeah, upside down star. Like, why is it gotta be upside down? Why can't they do it right side up? Hmm, That's the question. But anyways, it's like like I said, I've always been wise. I've always, and another thing is I've always felt like I was misunderstood. Because in a world, dang man, so close. In a world that is built on lies, ignorance, delusion, I thrive in truth, understanding, self knowledge, compassion, like things that are just dying nowadays. It's like these no one has these morals anymore or any more principles. And like I say, I'm not nothing special. It's just after you get to a point where you're so tired that you just don't want to play the game of life no more. Because that's what it is. We're playing a game. Everybody thinks their five senses are telling them the truth, not realizing that five senses only show like, what is it? I forgot what the number was, but it's like point. It's not even 10% of the light spectrum. I'm gonna have to get back to that number. Can't stand no thermal users. It's cheap, but it's like we can't even see the light spectrum yet. Everybody is taking their physical senses as the only truth, not realizing how deep it all actually goes and how real it all actually is. And it's not even for sake of people wanting to do bad. It's just the sake of people being ignorant of the reality of the situation, which is to no fault of their own. The system that we live in, which I am in the States, the system that we live in, it's designed to keep people asleep. It's designed to brainwash you. The school system's designed to brainwash you. The pharmaceutical system's designed to drug you and keep you sedated. Banking system is designed to keep you in debt and keep you worried, keep you in a state of fear. And that's all that everything is. The news, the music, entertainment, it's all designed to put us in states of fear, states of division, states of lust. All of these low vibrating states to where we are essentially manifesting hell on earth. And see, so my belief is, excuse me, man, but my belief is that through Christ, through the acceptance of the Messiah and believing that the Messiah came down, was crucified, died for our sins, and paid the atonement, so that way he could reconnect us from our fallen state. That is the key that gets us back into the kingdom of heaven. But our job is not done. I believe that after that, we have to go through repentance and we have to pretty much go through ego death, bring the subconscious to the light, live in alignment with your true self in order to essentially vibrate on the right frequency so we experience our own personal heaven on earth. And we are all essentially gods. I mean, we're not the creator God, but we're still gods. If, well, I mean, technically, I guess you would be either way. It just depends on which master you serve, dark or light. Which also, I believe that, yeah, the Messiah, I said, common tongue named Jesus, which the J wasn't even invented when he was around this, that, and the third. But that's the name that I was saved by because I came to him in spirit and I came to him in truth. And the Most High God is not going to be confused because humans change their language. Like, of course, people are dumb. Like, oh, God only knows if you da- 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 da. And it's like, oh, yeah, it gets to a point to where Obi. But no, it gets to a point where, of course, you learn the truth, and so we must change and we have to adjust appropriately. But no, I don't think that the Most High God is going to not give someone salvation just because they don't know the Hebrew version of his name. Dang, now I thought he was gonna go left. And again, that's just me because I have experienced the veil of blindness being lifted from my eyes. I've experienced the relationship with my God to the point to where I've changed drastically. I don't react no more like the world, the physical world, the physical attachments, physical desires, they don't have power over me no more. And that's a big misconception that I believe most people have is that they believe that following the Messiah, you kind of, it's like you're a slave in a sort of sense to where you have to do it, or you're going to, you're going to suffer and blah 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 blah. People don't realize that he just got shot, but people don't realize that everybody's already a slave, especially man, America. I cannot stand. We're about to celebrate. I think it says 250 years of quote unquote freedom, which is the biggest BS lie that I ever seen. Because nobody's free here. Oh, I'm stuck. See, we're all stuck. That's the thing right there. We're all stuck in our sins. We're all stuck in our desires. We're stuck in the constant loop of the rat race, and they don't want us to break out. So they feed us these crap lies telling us that we're free, when in reality, we're not. We're free to make our own decisions, yes, but we are not guided correctly to the point where all of our decisions do nothing but harm us. We are all misguided. We are all lost. We're all sheep being led to the slaughter. And truth is what will set people free. Truth is what's going to wake people up. But people don't want truth no more. People want to be comfortable. People want to avoid change, which is why it's interesting because whenever it comes to historical figures, which personally I believe that his story is, I mean, it's his story. History was wrote by the victors of battles and by conquerors and man over there between another man's legs. But it was wrote by, these different men. Why? Dang, that's a very slow stretch, dude. I gotta work on that. Oh, hold on. What's up? Oh, shoot! Don't drop the ball. I didn't. But no, it's like our history's been changed. But whenever it comes to historical figures, people believe in guys like Socrates, Galileo, Michelangelo, Leonardo, all of these different people where we have barely any historical records on. And yet we have this Messiah and then, we got the New Testament to where we have over 25,000 manuscripts of it. Like, you can't fake that. Like, that's not how it works, especially with the recent discovery in 1945 of the Nag Hammadi scripts, which allowed us to have the Gnostic Gospels, which teaches us a very different version of the Messiah. Oh, shoot. That's cooler. I'm getting better at that. Not the grenade throwing, but saying shit. Gotta, I gotta focus. No, I don't. This damn game doesn't matter. It's more the message that matters. But you know, people just don't want to accept Christ because if Christ is real, that means the judgment's real. That means that we are accountable for our lives, we're accountable for our actions, and one day we're going to have to face that judgment. And which also, again, is different. Like, I personally believe that this essentially, now, of course, this might not be exactly a something that people agree on like that. But I do believe that everything in this system, everything in this world is all tied together, one way or another. And I believe there is truth in every quote unquote religion. But again, I think that the Christ is the truth. That's the key. That's the first key to get into wherever we need to go, to the next step, to be able to unlock us from the spirit of blindness and be able to break us out of this trap that we live in. Excuse me, man, I can't. Yes, it must be that probably damn cocoa drunk. Anywho, but I believe that we're essentially this planet or this plane we live on is essentially hell. And I believe that if we don't find the right answer, we get reincarnated back onto this plane. And we keep doing it over and over again because our hearts are heavy and because we're not authentic to ourselves anymore. We're not open to ourselves. And especially in today's world where everybody is just being pushed with others' beliefs. It can be your parents, it can be your friends, it could be it's definitely the entertainment system. Ooh, man, I don't know if he's upset. I would be. But it's all of these. We have all these different things that are pushing beliefs upon us, not even realizing that. Excuse me. That we're not realizing that it's stopping us from our growth, and because of that, we're not we're not going to escape. We're not going to be able to leave this area or leave this part of our walk just because. Oh, gotta reload. Oh wow. I think someone was there eventually. But because our heart is heavy, because our mind is out of alignment. Look at that. Play the game. There. I got that on that 37 and 14 game I mentioned, or whatever the hell it was. Somewhere in that ballpark. But I believe that, if the heart's heavy, we can't escape. So, and that's kind of things that the Messiah tried to tell us, but the world changed it into a part to where it just became this love story, which I've realized this system is really good at. They change things into a love story. That way we just dismiss it. Which love is the strongest energy that we can align with in this reality. But at the same time, I believe that it's used to hide things. Like, okay, so a good example would be the Titanic. They changed it into this love story where it's a movie, but in reality, the Titanic was a big hoax where the Federal Reserve Bank killed all three of its main competitors right before it took over back in 1913. But of course, when you think Titanic, you think of the movie, you think of love, you think of Rose, which in reality, it was a girl cheating on her husband, this dude she just met, which I know I was like, oh, it was love, blah 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 blah. Blah. I mean, say what you want. I don't really care. Anywho, but I think that yes, Christ did come to pay the price. He came to buy back what was lost when Adam fell from the state that God would have him. which also I think is a part of just a part of the game because we can't remember who we are unless we forget who we are, and we can't forget who we are unless Adam falls. And it's all to us remember that we are all a part of the source. All of creation is intertwined. We are all one, but everybody is consistently divided over things that are just some of the dumbest stuff ever. Like, oh no, you're white. Oh no, you're black. Oh no, they're Mexican. Oh no, or oh my gosh, that's a woman. Oh my gosh, you're a man. Oh my goodness, you you're Buddhist, or oh my gosh, you're Muslim, or I mean, it's just very idiotic things. Very, it's just all these ideas that keep us in this state of division. Which of course, oh man, that's awesome. But of course, that's the goal, always, is to keep us divided. Because if we're together, we talk. We're together, we heal. We're together, we grow. If we grow and we heal and we talk, the system of control isn't very strong anymore. The many always will overpower the few. Always. But that's only if we stand together. That's only if everybody wakes the hell up. Do what you need to do. Put your foot down. Fight against your fleshly desires. Turn away from yourself and grow into the Christ consciousness that we are supposed to grow into. And again, I can't really say for Asha, I agree with that one. But I can't say for sure, if like, okay, let's say Muhammad, good example. I can't say for sure if people follow him completely to his teachings that they wake up to and get the spirit of blindness lifted off of them. I don't know because that's not the path that I chose. But I do know that even the Quran, they said that Jesus was of great, you know, he was a prophet. He was, held up in high authority. But then you go to the Holy Bible, which that's Jesus' book. That's the Christ book. And he's saying that he's the way, he's the truth, he's the way to life. There's few be that find it, very few. And I think that's because now we've got to this point where we all get stuck on the Paul side of the doctrine, where it's nothing but faith. We forget that Christ didn't come to abolish the law, but he came to fulfill it. And that we are supposed to follow the law, not because God wants to control us, but because God understands how we're designed. God understands that we need a purpose and that we need to be living in alignment so that way we aren't destroying ourselves eternally, because that's what it is. We're destroying ourselves. And everybody's like, oh, I want to be able to do what I want. But it's like, can you really do what you want? Or are you a slave to these desires and these attachments that you have? And I have a news flash for you. I just got shot in the back of the head. But I got a news flash for you. If you can't fast from your problem, or if you can't quit it and stop it, then you're a slave to it. If you're a slave to something that has power over you, it can alter you, and that's not something that you want to have in this physical world because it will lead you astray. That foundation will fall apart every single time something bad happens. You see, like I was saying, I lost my father, and he was only 47. Yeah, he was 47. He died a week before his 48th birthday. Insane that is on its own. The notion that it was a strong man only had 47 years. That's not a lot. Not even close. Well, I suck! Sorry for the screaming. Not really. But, anywho, but no, it's like you only have that amount of time, and, dude, these guys are freaking beating brakes off of me, man. I gotta adjust the Cold War speed. I usually been playing Black Ops 6, but I had to update. Anyways, sorry, no excuses. I know I should be better. That's another thing too. People love their excuses. Ah! Hey, look, happy birthday. But anyways, also numbers is a really big thing with this reality too. Anybody who says otherwise is not very smart. But oh, but no. So as I was saying, it's like we're at this state where people don't want to change anymore. People don't want to listen. People want to do what they want to do, and because of that, wow, man, that was tragic. Y'all, you see that? I mean, obviously you did. You're watching. Well, assuming that you are watching. Well, obviously you're watching, because if you weren't watching, then you wouldn't know that I'd be saying this. So scratch that. But no, it's like ev okay, that makes sense. Why not, right? Man, excuse me again. I apologize for all the burping in the ear. Oh, I wanted to hit him with like a finisher or something. See if I can lock in and get us to win. Matt, why do they keep spawning behind me? Like, make it make sense. I'm just supposed to have a bad carry that game. Look at that, those two deaths. That would have got us to win. Anyways, but it's. Hold on, I gotta find my train of thought. But we're at a point to where we're in a world where they tell us that it's okay to be ourselves. It's okay. People should accept you. But in reality, our subconscious mind isn't even accepting us. We are unaware of the repercussions of our actions. So a big one for me would be the transgender movement. I'm not judging anybody. I would never judge anybody. I am an imperfect man. I have zero right to judge. But I am aware and I hold myself accountable. And me, I was molested by my male cousin at 5 years old. Me, I've masturbated beside of one of my male friends before. Nothing gay, like we didn't do anything with each other, but we were side by side. I mean, we didn't see each other, but it still happened. I've I mean, this right here was just because we were dirt poor, but I showered with another man. But I was also like 9, 10, which that was weird because that was my homeboy Sean, and it was weird me being a white boy, him being a black boy. It was just a weird experience, you know. But anyways, but because of that initial thing that happened, I had a lot of confusion in my life, especially because every one of us we have this void that we're trying to fill. When you're trying to fill that void, uh probably shouldn't do that. I mean, to me, that's just a joke because I always found it funny that people can get so offended over a finger. But we all have this void, and we're all just hopelessly trying to fill it, trying to figure it out. What is wrong? Why can't I find satisfaction? Why can't I be fulfilled? Why can't I hit a shot? Oh, okay. Every time I do that where I miss a shot, make it always it's always instantly the Deadpool. It's bad Deadpool. Good Deadpool. Except obviously I use my name. But anyways, hey, I've been playing with that guy. Played him before in this session. But uh it's as if it's just people we're not living in our purpose. And humans, we're creatures of purpose. We're creatures of habit too. That's what our That's what the system that governs our mind understands. That's why we are stuck like we are because they're good at what they do. I believe that we're the essentially fallen angels are running this thing, or Nephilim, or I mean whatever you want to call it. The 200 who fell, who coincidentally there's a pyramid in the Middle East who has 200 seats that are in the perfect circle up top, and and it's in his private chamber with the phoenix in the front yard, and must be a coincidence. But I I believe that the powers to be, the ones who, like, because that's what government means. It means to govern the mind or to control the mind. And that's all they want to do. They want to keep us in control. They want to keep us from reaching our full potential. Even John D. Rockefeller said himself back in 1912, if I remember, it might be a couple years off, but it's around that period. maybe 1910. It was before the Titanic incident. That's when they were still establishing their system. But he said himself, "I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." And that right there on its own is a big red flag because us as humans, we're supposed to be thinkers. We're supposed to be able to critically think. We're supposed to be aware. We're supposed to be purposeful. We're supposed to. We're here for a purpose. We're here to do a job. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. We're here to push humanity and push this system towards the right direction while we can. But the system was designed to not do that. It has a school system, and it traps us. Like literally, if you think about it, think about the school system as if it's brainwashing you for a job, and you can't unsee it. All you see is the fact that you have to stay in your seat all day. Don't even make sense for kids to begin with because kids are creative and imaginative and they need to run and explore and find themselves. But whatever, sure, okay. Then you can't leave unless the bell goes off. You can't go to lunch unless the bell or the teacher tells you or the boss of the situation. Which again, I am very thankful to my God that I naturally had the rebellious side of the authority in me because I only serve one. I only serve one God, and it's the Father who sent my brother Jesus Christ or Yeshua. And and it's like I say, we live in this system where everything is against us. Excuse me, like me burping right now. It's against me. Helps to throws off my train of thought. Which that's another thing I will also apologize in advance. I have been diagnosed with ADHD, which makes a lot of sense for why I've had difficulty in this walk of mine. Which also I think now that I'm older, I believe that I also have a little bit of the tism too, because I just social things that I've always struggled with. Like there's just it's a lot to it. But anyways, so we live in this system. Oh, the first laugh was crap, but the second one was like that. Well, we live in a system designed to keep us from fulfilling our purpose, keep us keep us in the rat race, in the maze, just so that way we never change or grow. Because if we don't change or grow, powers that be keeps controlling everything. And if that's the case, we're going to consistently fall short. We're going to consistently be upset, be depressed, be anxious, be, I mean, anything that's on that low vibration, agitated, paranoid, lustful, uh, other words that are mean bad things. But if we learn to live in unity, live in love, to live in purpose, to grow, to accept life for what it is, to change with it, you unlock the actual adventure. You unlock what you're supposed to be. It's hard for you to know how strong you are if you stay in a constant state of comfort. That's not how, that's not a person, or a live person at least. That's not a person, anyways, it's a game. But if you stay comfortable, you lose. Comfort is the death of purpose. And again, without purpose, we're all just, I might as well just be pissing in the wind. And it's all, it's getting back to your leg. And then you're sitting here and you're like, oh no, why is this happening? Oh, my life is so bad. But I mean, how many people did you lie to today? How many people did you steal from? How many people did you cheat on? How many people did you use and abuse for your own will instead of doing the will of the Father, instead of doing things for the greater good? But no, people are selfish, and that is a big problem. That is a really big problem. That people worship themselves nowadays. They worship the materialistic mindset, and because of that, they are going to consistently fall short. They are going to consistently feel broken. And you can't force people to change. You can't force people to accept truth. You cannot force people to do things they do not want to do, but you can guide. you can point them to reality and to the truth. And see, that's another thing too. I believe that most people don't live in reality. I believe that most of y'all are in a state of delusion because you're trying to fit the world into your mindset instead of changing your mindset to the world, if that tracks. And again, it's just how, but it's just this again, this is what I believe from my studies, from my own personal journey of experience. Seen them. I don't know why I didn't react. Probably because I was too busy talking about something a lot more important. But through my own journey, I have been forced, not forced, because that sounds a little darker, but I've been blessed in order to put truth above all else. And I'm at a point in my walk to where truth is all I have left. I mean, only parental figure I have left is my mother, and she's an addict who's fighting for her own soul, she's struggling. I'm not gonna say what she's fighting against, but it's definitely not one of the lighter stuff, I'll tell you that much. It ain't heroin, I'm not gonna say that. But it ain't weed either, which ex-pothead right here, been sober for a few weeks now. Whoop, whoop. Which again wouldn't be possible without Christ. No way. Anyways, but she's fighting these things. So outside of her, all I have is my siblings, family wise. And still really it's only my older sister. After I mean I have them all, but I don't trust my like I can't even control it. That's the crazy thing about it. But I have like this guidance system. That's a great way to describe it. This guidance system that pretty much I can't share certain things with certain people because I feel it's off. I can feel that person isn't genuine. That they're not. I don't know. I can read energy. Dang man, I should have got that key. I didn't even realize it. No, you're already dead. Like I said, then you never hear the shot that takes you down. But anyways, had I have this goddess system to where it's like I'm just unless the energy is right, and that is the thing. Energy never lies. Write it down. Take note. Energy will never lie. Now, do not misinterpret what I'm saying. I know some very great people who are like maybe they're tone deaf. They don't understand or they're not aware. Not understand. They're not aware of how their tone impacts people. That's different because you have to judge a tree by the fruit it bears. You have to judge a person by their actions. So you have to see, So okay, this guy. It's like yeah, maybe he's yells at you and he don't have much patience. But there's probably a deeper reason that you just don't understand. But if they're trying to help you in their own way, then have some grace. Because I mean, without grace, every one of us, we'd all fall short. Every one of us has missed the mark, and yet people are so quick to judge others. And that's an interesting thing too about humans. We judge people for doing the sins that we don't do, but then we make excuses and we condone. Is that the correct word? I don't know if it is. If anybody, whenever you're watching this, drop a comment. Let me know. But we pretty much we give the thumbs up for the sins that we do commit, and that's not one. It's not just, but it's not morally consistent. Like, hey, for example, I have a really close friend recently. He cut me deeper than I felt was possible, which again is not. I don't blame him. It's simply for the fact of misunderstanding on my end. Woo, boy, them reflexes are like that. But oh, dang, probably by the time to scratch my eye. Anywho, But like I say, that because of the misunderstanding, he let me down because he I'll just say something that the person he holds in high regard did something that bothered me deeply on a soul level because this man, I mean, I look up to this man. I love this man deeply. But he did something that is against the nature of who he says he is. And I said something because it was eating at me, especially before work. I work construction, especially recently, man. Like I live down in the south, boy. It's been over 100 these last few days, especially like yesterday. Like I was up in an attic with like no air at all. Like people don't realize like it can always be worse. Y'all better oh, be thankful y'all work in a place with AC sometimes. And that's another thing too. People have been brainwashed to focus on the bad instead of noticing the good. Dang, blended in on the well. But anyways, like I say, it cut me deeper than I thought possible just because I'm at a point to where, like I say, I'm from the streets. I'm from the world, and that's where all my friends are from. And because of my changes, because I have changed, I've lost a lot of them. I mean, I pray they come back, and I still got some who are kind of around, but it's different. We're not aligning no more, so we don't connect the same way anymore. It's like we can't just because I'm not that guy. I can't just be that guy anymore because I've learned. After you learn truth, you can't go back, and that's an interesting thing about it because it changes us. Same thing with death. Somebody dies, it changes you. So, and it's not came with just somebody. Like I said, like my dog dying, that hit hard because I had that dog since I was 14. 14 to 27 or 13 to 27, one or the other. I'm kind of iffy on when we got her. Anyways, she was around for the hardest parts of my life. Without that dog, I would have taken my life easily. But like even after a while, the dog wasn't enough. I needed something more. Hence why I came to the Messiah, came to the Savior who was going to buy me back from my fallen state. But losing that dog, it so much deeper than I imagined possible, which I knew it was going to hit hard, but you can never prepare for death. That's just the way it is. Same thing like my dad who died of cancer. It's like, yeah, we knew beforehand, but you can't prepare for it. Or my grandmother, who was my peace in the world of chaos when I was a kid, couldn't prepare for it. Same thing, cancer got her. Why? Because we live in a world where we'll want all of our foods poison, all of our. I mean, it's all set to kill us. Everything, food, the pharmacy, everything is against us. But like I say, I've changed, and because of that, I don't have the options. And then even now, like when I was younger, if I got upset, I'd smoke a blunt, I'd eat some food, I'd hit a girl up. One of many. I always had a roster. I will say, and again, this is don't take this as boastful because I was a kid who always had really bad insecurities, but I'm an attractive man, and now I'm a man's man at that. And that's not something that you find in today's world. So it's easy because morals, principles, think your word, stuff like that. Only real men have. Only real men can keep their word. Only real men move certain ways. But younger me, like I said, I was insecure, and I didn't realize who I was or what I had, which I think that's how most people are. Most people don't realize that we are all beautifully and wonderfully made, and we are created in the image of our God. And yet we're all over here trying to change ourselves. We're over here doing things that you can't take back, man. Like these little boys cutting their junks off because they're confused and because their parents want this damn attention. Like, oh yeah, my kid, he's transitioning and blah 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 blah. And like, oh man, you know how many of them boys take their lives because they realize they messed up? You know how sad that is? You know how, like, can you imagine the death toll? Like, if that'll break your heart, like, man, you don't have any humanity left. That right there can tell you really quick what God you serve. I ain't gotta know how the right gun for that encounter. But, like I say, man, it's like I've changed so much to where I don't align with a lot of things that I used to. And because of that, it's causing division in my life. So I don't have nothing else to run to except the Messiah, except to my Father in heaven, who I have a relationship with because Jesus came down and did the mission. He did what he was supposed to do. He came down here. He was a perfect man who walked the walk like he talked the talk, and then he died for it. But that's because, I mean, you know, he had to. He had to buy us back. Adam lost it. Adam dropped the ball. And yep, we got defeated. Or he got defeated. Oh man. Excuse me, man, I can't stop. How much more do I have on this video? Oh, that's a little bit of time. Cool. But like I said, it's like we're all in this fallen state, and it breaks my heart. Like, oh, shoo, I about fell. But maybe I'm not supposed to say that. That might be why. Okay, I'm trying to go a different route then. But it's sad because these people. It's like humans can only change for the bad. They can only change for the worst. Same thing with assuming. People always assume the worst. You ever realize that? Like people never assume the best anymore. People are like everybody's walking around. There's no light anymore. And it's like everybody is trapped in their desires. We're all in the rat race. We're all doing the same thing every single day, over and over and over. And then you're wondering, huh, why do I feel so down? Like, huh, I wonder. You're out of shape, you're unhealthy, you're putting poison in your body, you're working for a company or a system that does not care about you. You're you're not taking your mental health seriously. You're not studying, scripture. You're not reading and learning and filling yourself. You're not being creative. You're not being true to who you were designed to be. But people think, okay, so it's an interesting thing with how the ego works. So see, so people, okay, so for instance, I can give you going. So again, I was a white boy who grew up in the hood. So whenever you think of a wigger, that was me, but I was times 20 because I didn't care. At a young age, I did not care. I could out crazy the craziest nigga you ever seen. And I promise you that. And it wasn't even like I meant to. It wasn't like I was trying to, but I went through some dark stuff at a very young age. I came into this world watching the first woman I ever loved being my mother get the shit beat out of her from my stepdad. Excuse my French. See, comes out. I'll start talking about something passionate. But getting the crap beat out of her from my stepdad. Broke her ribs. I think he broke her jaw or her nose, or he broke something else, or he fractured something. Anyways, got attempted murder charges on each other. My mom trying to bash his head in with a snow globe. Now, it takes two. I know that. But being a little kid, seeing your mom get her hands put on her by a man, any man who puts his hands on a woman is a coward. And they deserve they deserve something. I'm just going like God gotta give it to him. I was gonna say that God is just God, and He will give you what you ask for, and that's why everybody's living in this fallen, depressed state because He's not He gave us free will so we can choose. So if you want to smoke and you want to drink, then yeah, your liver's gonna shut down. Which I mean I've never drunk because I mean I tasted it once when I was like 5 or 6 because my mom let me. Again, tells you a little bit, but you know and don't get me wrong, my mom was the best mom ever, especially with the circumstances she was put in. The strongest woman I've ever met outside of my immediately younger sister. She is, whew. Boy, this woman, I tell y'all what, y'all ain't never seen nothing like it. Ain't never seen nothing like it. But anyways, yeah, that girl, I'll tell you what, she can take down the army by herself. She's like the 300 Spartans by herself. I love it. But no, it's like, I was put in this bad situation. I had to grow up. I had to grow up fast. I was, okay, so like I said, I got molested young, seen a dead body really young. I gotta start throwing out a little yo. The arc arch mechanics are different than Black Ops 6, which I'm a basketball player, so I know a thing or two. But I was just put in a situation where I had to be grown. I had to be aware at a young age. Like, yeah, this stuff would happen. I had to take from little brother, little sister. I was 5 whenever my younger sister was born, and then my younger brother came when I was 8, probably. So yeah, probably about 9 is when or 8, yeah, 8, 9, yeah, is when really I had to handle stuff. And it ain't like we like I said, we grew up poor. We was moving every 6 months to a year to a new house. She couldn't pay the rent, so we just house hopped. We, went to yard sales to get our clothes, or we had hand-me-downs. Like I remember I was in 4th grade wearing hand-me-downs from like a 7th grader, I think. And I mean, it kind of worked because I grew up. I mean, I was kind of from the era of the early '90s where everything was baggy, so it kind of worked, but still not okay. Anyways, so I had to grow up. Man, this dude is really starting to piss me off. Sorry, it's that little electricity freaking man. Like ah, but sometimes you gotta laugh so you don't cry. I tell you what, I'll remember that about life. That's the damn truth right there, especially if you really want to commit to walking the path of Christ. Now, don't get me wrong, the best decision you could ever make. I've experienced beautiful things. I see beautiful things daily, but it's hard. It's hard dying daily, turning away from the flesh, repenting from everything that you grew up on, everything that you were raised to do. But that's like I that was on me. But that's the thing that we don't realize as a people anymore, that we make these decisions and we jump on these choices, and we're defending things that aren't even who. Son of a biscuit! Oh, I imagine it was so much worse because he's the one who came behind me and killed me. But we make these decisions and we're defending these decisions that aren't even true to who we are, because again, we're all in a fallen state. We have all been taught incorrectly on how to handle life. So everybody is trying to fill their void with crap that is never going to fill it. You can't fill a spiritual void with physical things. That's just dumb. That is a dumb notion. Yet everybody is doing it. Why? Because we don't know no damn better. No one ever taught anybody nothing. They taught Parents taught their kids how to deal with it just like their parents taught them. That's how generational curses happen, and that's how you get shot when we're going down the side of the boat. Yeah, I think it's just going to smart play this match. There's no playing it while I'm talking. But it's like we're all in this fallen state, and we are all trying to fill this void, physical things. But it's a spiritual battle we're in. We're in a spiritual realm. Like, yeah, okay, you can see everything, but okay, I'm just gonna just use a round number just because again, I don't really know. Actually, I think I had a screenshot on my phone recently. But we we live in this fallen state to where we think what we see is the truth or what we hear is the truth. Or we go off of these senses, not realizing that our senses is, until I figure out the right number, I'm gonna say 5%. Our senses are only 5% of the entire spectrum. And like, how can you back up your entire life and your entire reality off of something that, what's the word, unreliable. How? It doesn't make sense. Like I said, we're in a spiritual world. That's why it hurts so much deeper. That's why it impacts you like it does, because you're trying to fill this void with something that can't be filled with physical things. And that's what we are truly a slave to, is our desires. All of these generational curses that we are unaware that we do or why we do them, that is what is causing us to stay in this fallen, forgetful, lost state, to the point where, excuse me, man, I just jumped out crazy. But we're in a state to where people can't figure it out. The thing is, like, most people don't want to figure it out, but for those of you who do, there is a chance. There's hope. There's a way to change for the good and become who you're meant to be, who God designed you to be. 'Cause you matter. You're important. There's only one of you, and our God thought it was necessary to have one of you here. And yet you want to change and be like everybody else? That's ludicrous. Y'all gonna make me act a fool up in here. Up in here. No. But, just things to think on. I say, I mean, you can accept what I say to be true or not. But I think if you really evaluate yourself honestly and with an open heart, you'll see something's wrong. But I thank you for listening. I love each and every one of you. I truly hope I can help each and every one of you. But I can only I can only give the advice. I can only show you the door. You got to walk through it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the energy. Thank you for, I mean, it's kind of crazy to say, but thank you for being misled, so that way I have the purpose of helping you. Because without it, I wouldn't stick around. Again, I don't fear death. I've almost died more times than I could count, but I'm still here. And I got demons attached to me who's trying to take me out daily. They don't want me to succeed because they know what's about to happen. They know what's happening. And that's what's happening to each and every one of you. There's things attached to spiritual entities that are trying to keep you down because they want you to come right back after you die. And so that way they can keep stealing your energy, keep you out of the will of the Father, keep you out, and keep you detached from the source. That's just not good. But thank you. Hopefully you caught something important. Peace!